welcome back. We are back on another live and we're going to be talking to Chiara from Rakish. If any of you guys don't know, Rakish is a production company based in the US. And the founding director, Mark Foster, who was responsible for films like World War Z, A Man Called Otto, and many films. And essentially, he's created a production company, and we're going to be speaking to Chiara from Rakish. Welcome. If you're just joining, hello, everyone. We are going to be talking to Chiara from Rakish. Rakish is a production company based in the US, founded by Mark Foster, in charge of films like World War Z, A Man Called Otto, Monsters Ball, Quantum of Solace. So we're talking heavy-hitting films. We're going to jump straight into it. The topic is going to be talking about navigating, strategies around how directors can navigate their careers. So we're going to be talking to Chiara, who is waiting in the room just now. So I'm going to invite her in. And if you've got any questions, remember, there's no such thing as a silly question. So feel free to ask questions during the live. Right, let's get Chiara in. Hello.
Hello, Curtis. How are you?
I am very well, and I'm really excited about this chat because
Thank you.
I feel like more people need to speak to people like you. So for just anyone who doesn't know, can I get you to just like introduce yourself and like your title and your role and what you do?
Of course. Well, my name is Chiara Useche. My official title is Head of Sales and Strategy. I work at Rakish, a production company that is based in Los Angeles, and co-founded by film director Mark Forster and executive producer Preston Garrett. And essentially, what I do in my position is crafting blueprints, like strategically thinking ahead about like plans to develop and grow not only the directors that we represent, but also the company as a whole.
Interesting. So I feel like I want to take it like way back and just like to like because a lot of the people that are going to be watching are either starting out in their career, and especially as someone who's kind of in an experienced kind of position and role, I want to kind of like see if we can give some wisdom to the people that are kind of coming into it now. So as a company that's like representing directors and a person who's in charge of kind of like navigating their careers, I want to sort of first start off and say, where should, if someone's interested in being a director, where should they actually start to be a director? Because I think a lot of the time there's a lot of like,
Mm.
there's a lot of misconceptions of like, one, what a director is, and also how one should start. Is it just as simple as saying, I'm a director and I'm just going to follow what that means? Or is it like, are you filling out a form? Like, what, if you're a director? And also, what should you be doing when you first are like, I feel this calling, this is me?
Yeah. I totally hear you. Like that is one of the most interesting, difficult, exciting questions to come across, right? I would say personally, like the way to start anything, start from a place of curiosity. That would be where I would put uh, like my first mindset. Like being a director entails to carry a vision for the film. That is the most important thing for become a director, and that is very like intertwined with exploration, with understanding every single side of the resources that you have at hand. And you have the technical resources that is super important, and you can approach that with like practice. Go out there with your camera, with your cell phone, with lights, like all this kind of stuff. But also, on the other hand, you have the human resources. And to me, I think that is one of the most valuable things to also practice, like leadership, and to understand what is every single department, um, like their job. What is the thing that like cinematography has to do, art direction, because having a deep understanding of all the crew and all the departments that you're working with is going to give you the sense of a more cohesive way to lead all these people who are there essentially supporting you and your project, right? Um, so yeah, I would say like practicing is one of the keys. And the other thing I would say like studying the previous directors of our history. They know they have set a precedent before us. And having those references in mind is going to ground your vision and is going to yeah, like give those references for you to develop and like create something new from there.
Bam. I love that answer because it's like look at the previous greats that have done it before. Explore, be curious, and
Hmm.
research and know what everybody does because what everybody does is important and it makes you a better director if you do.
Yeah, and it's like it's kind of like being immersed in the group of people in like the message that you want to create. It's like it's collaboration or through and through, like filmmaking and being a director. I always put the reference of like a conductor in music. You have the orchestra and you need to know what are the parts that every single musician is playing. So
Mm,
being a really good director is understanding and like being a little bit ahead, like some 3 steps ahead of every single musician that is part of this big orchestra. And this big orchestra is DP, art direction department, all these, yeah, all these people that like create something
that's a
with
beautiful.
you.
That's such a an apt analogy. Let's jump a little bit forwards. Okay, so we've done the research. We've been researching the greats. We've been doing work. We've been curious. Now we're like, okay, cool. I am interested in getting work. Um, if I've only got two pieces of projects, like when is it too early? When is it too late to put yourself out there? Like if we're talking about navigating the career now,
Hmm.
when should directors start putting themselves out there as a director and maybe even looking for paid work? Because I think there's always
Hmm.
this, I guess, sense of imposter syndrome of like, well, I
Hmm.
haven't major, so what should I do? Say if I, for example, I wanted to contact Rakish to work on something, how would I
Hmm.
go about that? What stage would be the right stage? What's the wrong stage?
I think like there is not right and wrong stage. I think like from a strategic point of view, I would say it's better to have like the rule of thumb is kind of like having 3 pieces in your reel that feels cohesive, that feels that work and fit together well, to understand what is your kind of like sensibility as a director, what is your style. I would say like sometimes we get like in this mindset like I should like go through different genres. So I have like one comedy and one drama and one other type of thing. I would say it's much better when you have like something that is cohesive like like in one genre first, that you can be confident that you are mastering. That's how I feel like you can show that to other people, let's say in advertising, to agencies, creatives, because they are going to have a sense, like a full body of work in that end. If you present like more than 1 or 2 pieces, it's better to keep creating. But at the same time, it's kind of like finding that balance between you always have to think about yourself as a director, as a brand, you yourself, like your portfolio, how you put out there your reel,
Mm,
how you speak about yourself, how you speak about your style. and how that message come across. Like those type of things, and in this era, in these moments, um, it's more like also developing this craftsmanship and sales type of persona in a way. It's kind of like finding the balance between like the creative side, but also what is the charisma that you can give,
Mm.
what is the
Still voice.
conversation, the connection with the other person that you're like trying to, yeah, to sell in a way your style as a director.
Right. Okay. So it's about, so in this process, it's as much as it is about practicing and honing the craft. It's okay. Who are you? What do you want to say? Like when as you said, when you're introducing yourself, how do you speak? How do you act? It's almost like a, as you said, a persona that, you know, past your work. Who are you? It's kind of
Yeah.
similar to the art world where it's like, yeah, okay, the painting's nice, but what's the story behind the painting? Like, who are you? What's your story? Because then that validates the work even more because you're like, oh, okay, you were interested in I don't know, Vikings, and you
Hmm.
into this area of Vikings, and then it turns out that actually, you know, maybe you went to this place and X, Y, Z. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that's that personality
One
through.
that personality, you just said that perfectly. Like the personality behind your work is something very, very important to have in mind. And like nowadays, connection in a very disconnected world is something that we are all craving, like being genuine, being and you can feel when that's happening in the room, in the conversation, that you like connect with the director in and like whatever them they are like saying or like trying to like give the message about like the film, but it's about like how can I connect with them to
Mm.
see if I can collaborate with this person, with this director, to put a project into fruition, like that's the core, is how you connect through the speech and through your work and through the reel that you're putting out there.
Mm. So in that, you what you're saying is okay. So then now we're talking. Okay, cool. Do the research. I'm like compiling like a to do list. Like do the
Mm.
study the grades, which we know we need to be doing, but we actively need to be actively doing. And I think it comes back to that. You actually need to be curious because if you're curious enough, you will do those things.
Yeah, like, and it's going to come naturally. That's
Mm.
the beauty of that. It doesn't have to be forced. It just like comes.
And then essentially working on something that you can master so that you can comfortably do it before you're tackling anything else. When I want to know, like, in terms of putting yourself, I want to ask two questions. But when should you then start forwarding yourself for roles? Because I feel like I see roles, you know, on different spaces like talent manager or like, you know, in just different like workspaces.
Hmm.
You've got your three pieces, you know, as a standard rule that we spoke about. When are you like, okay, cool, because I think a lot of people have this issue of being able to say, I'm a director, because there is
Mm.
of like imposter syndrome. When are you able, and maybe it's not a specific rule for everybody, to reach out to someone and go, hey, I'm a director. I want to work on this project with you. You've got this application. I want to be the director that, you know, that works on this project. There's a documentary going. I want to be the director.
Yeah, I mean, like, let the work speak for yourself as well. Like, if you find something that actually matched your passion and you really think that you have the skill set and the ability for that project, it's kind of like we usually in our end we usually put together reels, like trying to put like from the body of work of directors, of course, like we have like several pieces, so we try to match those with the creative that we are like trying to connect the director with the team, right? um so it's kind of like understanding what is the opportunity out there, what are the pieces of my work that can speak to that and that can um, match with that type of language, and just send that. And, like when it comes to companies or representation, is just actively sending your reel and how it's evolving. That is important. Like usually, like I always have my eye in like film festivals. That is one of the things that I go to and watch films and like other type of shows in the advertising world. And you're always like seeing what is out there, what are the directors doing, and all these kinds of like yeah, like how they are developing and growing their reel. That is very important. Just keep doing things, keep growing your reel. Share those with uh, companies, with production people, with EPs, with salespersons. Like all these sharing and growing at the same time is very it's a never ending process. You always have to be building your brand as a director, building your reel, building your speech. So it's kind of like share, and then if you have something new, send it and keep engaging that conversation. It can take time, because you are growing and we are all growing and we are in different stages. But like just having that connection and nurturing that connection within a space of time is going to probably come to an end where you finally get the project. You finally get to work with certain company or certain agency or certain brand.
What I love about that is it's kind of the answer to that question was also an answer to another one of the questions I had, which was what are habits or what are habits or actions directors should be doing consistently to build a career? And I think that kind of answers
Mm,
it well. And I also
mm.
think touched upon in that answer was that it's not a destination based thing. Like you're always going to be doing this. Like the whole kind of, oh, if I do this project, then I'm okay. It's like, no, babe,
No,
you're always going to be doing this.
perfectly say no, babe. That's how you say it. No, babe.
You're always going to be doing this. You're always going to be,
Yeah.
you should always. So I think from what you're saying, it sounds like, no matter how big you get, continue making that real, continue meeting new people.
100%. Like as filmmakers, I think you're in constant development, and that's the beauty of it. I always find, and this is a contradiction because, of course, like we have to have deadlines to make things happen, but at the same time, um, and that is one of the things that I feel like advertising is a really good field for directors is because you are able to train some part of your brain as a director, like the fast pace, for example, is completely different when you're doing a short film or a feature film. It's completely different. In advertising, you need to go straight to like treatment and then pre-production and production, and everything happens so fast. And that is a way to, again, like train that muscle, if you will, and that is going to give you resources when you want to do something like a short film or like something more creative and close to your heart. So it's again, it's kind of like balancing both type of things and understanding, as you were saying perfectly, is not the destination because once you get to the destination, there is something else. There is something that you would like to go with curiosity and experiment,
Mm,
and like as a director and as a creative, I think like one of the most valuable things as you grow in the career is being able to be open to all the other things that you still have to explore. If you're in one genre, why not go into another one?
mm.
Why not to explore with a different camera, like a different setup or a different crew? Or it's always about like, let's go and see what is there. And like
How could
from those experimentations, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like from those experimentations, you can start to see new perspectives. And a director that is very like uh you know when a director has like a broad perspective in like different ways, it has more resources and many people wants to collaborate with them because of that, because it has like a tool set that is broad, like big, and have like a lot of resources. That is one of the things that are valuable when you are a creative.
No, that's such a beautiful answer because I think that type of message to the budding directors that are out there, it's that kind of like, hey, chill, you've got time, working on your craft because that is the very thing that you're doing is already being productive. Because I think then this energy of we need to be here doing this. What should I be doing to showcase myself to this person? And yes, there is that element of proving yourself, but you really kind of, it's weird. It kind of feels like you have to kind of ignore everyone and pay attention
Mm.
to everyone at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's and like when it comes to that type of push and pull, which is normal in the business and like I think in every business. But it's coming back to why are you doing what you're doing? Like what is the message that you want to set across? Like those type of questions and going back to those questions are always going to set you in the ground. Like, oh, okay, like actually I'm doing this because I have passion for film, and like I really feel passionate about like this type of story
Mm,
or like saying this type of message. But at the same time is like being aware about like the cultural shifts that we are like witnessing right now that are like crazy in a way, like it's everything happening at the same time. But it's always being mindful about like how to put the right amount in every single effort and the right energy to every single effort. Like it doesn't have to be like all the way in right away. You are learning in the process. And I think like giving yourself grace and be kind to yourself is absolutely crucial. We are all like, no matter what is your role, you can be the CEO of the most important brand. We are all learning
mm,
something new, and it's going to be like discomfort and like figuring out. Everything is part of the process. So
mm,
when you're a director, you're like always figuring out something,
mm.
and that is the beauty of it. Once the project is done, and then to the next one. So it's kind of like, what is the thing that I'm enjoying while I'm doing this specific project? What it counts.
That it's so funny because that reminds me of a quote by I forgot his name, the guy who did Grand Budapest Hotel. I forgot his name, and people are gonna flag
The
me in.
Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson.
When about when the films and projects, it's like you're
Mm,
excavating the project. So rather than you kind of leading with ego and being
mm,
be this person, I need to be this person. And I think this is so funny because us kind of going into this conversation about strategy behind directors, I think this is the mental part of the strategy, which is basically, you know, give yourself grace. That's the mental part. What I want to now jump into is just kind of things that potentially directors can do because we've covered the mental part of like, girl, give yourself grace, make the things that you're interested in, you know, follow with interest. That's what this is literally about. People are invested in your interest. What are
hmm
some housekeeping things that directors can do that can kind of help and aid them with a sustainable career, whether that's like, website stuff or whether that's real stuff, things like that. Just, or even if it's things that you commonly see that directors aren't doing. As a person that's in marketing, as a person that sort of leads with directors' careers, what are some housekeeping things that directors could be doing to help them behind their sort of their strategy and also their careers?
That is a great question.
Put you a bit on the spot there because I know we that was a random question, but it's just yeah.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. And I'm thinking about it. Like there are so many things. Obviously, having a website. I know for a fact that there are like so many talented people out there, but like that is another side of is work, putting together like a website or your portfolio or Instagram. Right now, Instagram is like a very big part of our like one of the most important platforms nowadays. But like putting together your reel and your body of work in one place, it's essential. That's one thing that I would like suggest to like directors that are starting or like whatever is the stage, just keep that like the website, the maintenance of that, like just keep putting new work over there. Usually when I'm like doing the curation part or like we are like trying to see other directors, we usually go to the website. Usually that's the first step that you do. Um, so there's that. Uh, I would say like every single time that you have an opportunity to speak about your work in this type of lives or interviews or like little articles in magazines or like right now
Yeah.
like free press is something that is out there and you can reach out to people uh, that have like that are like looking for content, and that is another way to put yourself out there to
Can we just
build your brand.
can we dive into that? So what is that? Free press is that like a people to contact, or is it like a website? Like what is that?
So free press usually is those type of places like, I don't know, Bold or Bold Magazine is one that comes to mind, or Bojash is another one that comes to mind. I'm talking this is in LA. Um, oh, I think that we cut up for a second.
Yeah, there
I
I'm
hear
good.
you now.
Yeah, so you're saying.
Um, so it's like these places that actually are looking for creatives and they are not charging
Oh,
for you to go and like have some sort of interview or some like yeah, to speak about your work. I could send like some links or like things that can be helpful for you and for the shiny
oh,
community.
absolutely. Because that's like a because I had no idea about that, and I think there's people in the chat that would be incredibly helpful for
Of
where.
course, yeah, it's kind of like a like find ways to put yourself and what is your um style and your reason why you do this as a director out there, like in outlets that are accessible to the industry somehow. And just keep like putting those things in LinkedIn, in Instagram, in your website. It's being like advocating for your work.
Mm.
That's a big part of how you put yourself out there. So I would say like those type of things really help when you're putting yourself out there and like speaking about your work.
So essentially, being your biggest cheerleader, because no one's gonna cheer louder about your work than you.
Exactly. And until, like again, you're building your career and you're finding your team, that is also another stage in the career's life of a director, of a filmmaker in general. And that can come like very early in the middle. Like there is not a set time for that. But until you find your team of people, your crew, your support professional family, if you will, you are the one who needs to be rooting about yourself. And like, again, like, this is what I do, why I do it, like, this is what I want to pursue. Like, being vocal about those things to understand uh, you and the sensibilities that you have as a director is going to help you to find the right match when it comes to your creative team.
Mm.
So that's very important, like being able to articulate those things in all these outlets that we already suggested.
That was beautiful. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Kiara. I'm
Of
gonna wrap
course.
here. Thank you so much because I feel like you've dropped so many gems today, and I feel like I think anyone watching probably thought it was gonna be like a corporate like, here's 5 ways to but of holistic. Also, there was the holistic side and there was the housekeeping side, which I think is directing in a nutshell. It's the professional side, but it's also incredibly emotional and especially when it comes to following your curiosity. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank
For
you so much for inviting me. This was a lovely conversation.
and hopefully not the only one. So
No, we love Shiny. We've been like supporting you guys. Like everything that you're doing out there is wonderful, is needed. Like emerging directors are the new generation, like that's something that needs to be nurtured and needs to be like all the advices, all the things that we can do to support the community. Like we love you guys. It's amazing what you're doing over
oh, thank you.
there.
Anyone watching, if you missed the chat, it will be available on. Oh, we've got a question. So we'll get this question and then I'll wrap up. How
Okay, okay.
important is it to work in a certain genre? Because a director, I want to explore different genres. So in my portfolio, there's food commercials and documentaries. Also, just did a narrative. So technically, you answered this question in the chat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm wondering, do you feel like we answered this? I would say watch this back. But is there
I
anything
think so.
them?
I would say having the flexibility to jump from genres is really important and is valuable. I would say to focus your energy first in one and then jump in another one. Like that's the best way to actually master something. Like this box, if it's comedy, like try comedy is one of the hardest one, by the way. Like that like mastering comedy, like good comedy is really, really challenging. But yeah, like go one by one. And I see that this director has been doing like commercials and documentaries and narrative. So it's kind of like explore all of them, but like put your energy to actually master each so you can find what is your genre and what is the one that actually is closest to your style.
And also going off what you said, follow your curiosity. So out of all of
Yes,
those, which one are you most curious about? And it will reveal to you which one you care most about.
exactly. That's where your passion is going to be open to your mind.
Mm. Kiara, thank you so much. Anyone watching, this will be available on the Shiny platform on the website, but also it will be available on this Instagram as well, on the Shiny Instagram. Thank you so much, Kiara. I hope
Thank
to
you,
see
Curtis.
you again soon, and have a great day, everyone, and have a great day.
You too. You too. Bye. Bye, you guys.